Всем привет, дорогие друзья, с вами Перец, и неожиданно, ребята, я призвал сюда, нашел Шерлока Холмса, и дело в том, что эта серия будет расследование, все-таки, я думаю. Поскольку мы продолжаем проходить игрушку The Console, это второе прохождение, напоминаю, что второе прохождение игрушки The Console, я принес туда Шерлока Холмса, чтобы он мне помог раскрыть это дело. Как-то, не знаю, мне кажется, что дух Шерлока Холмса как-то присутствует в этом, поможет мне в раскрытии этого дела. Итак, наша сейчас задача, я тут пересматривал свои ролики и понял, что у нас Вон Вульбер еще. Мы должны Мы должны обыскать комнату Вон Вульвера. И я записал даже, что нужно обыскать Вон Вульвера, потому что Перу я вычеркнул. Мне кажется, что Перу не виноват. Хортус. Опа.
The signs of obscurantism.
Так, мед, это хорошо.
The sorrows of young Werther. There's a handwritten text signed by von Werner on this first page. Dear Elizabeth, I know that this book is but a small token compared to the delightful moments you
Ух ты!
gave me, but I hope that this will nonetheless keep the memory alive. Your ever obedient servant. So, Volner had a relationship with Elizabeth. But that's hardly surprising given his fondness for the occult. The sorrows of young Werther. There's a dear Elizabeth, but I hope so. But golden elixir.
A table of alchemical symbols. Someone circled the zinc symbol. A chest locked with a 4-letter code. Surely a word close to the owner's heart.
Да. Я предположил.
The alchemist is a young man.
Так, Вон Вульвер. Коллекционка, окей.
Amber crystals.
Янтарь.
The
Отлично.
alchemist is an old man.
Так. Так, посмотрим, что ты
What
можешь.
can I do for you, de Richet?
Monsieur, Lord Mortimer has appointed me to investigate the tragedy that befell us last night.
Oh, yes. It's horrible. Yes. How can I help, monsieur?
Where were you last night?
In my room. I read a few ancient manuscripts before going to bed. But I didn't stay up long. I was tired.
Thank you kindly. Excuse me for asking, but did you know Miss Adams?
Oh, she... not really, to tell the truth. No.
I found the Werther dedication, signed by your hand, monsieur. Would you like to change your version now?
Be careful, de Richet. Don't push your luck. My relationship with Miss Adams was pure, and has nothing to do with you. Well, continue playing the detective as you see fit. But if I find the bastard who did that to Elizabeth, I will...
Yes! I would have preferred a simple response, but I see I have my answer now. Exactly how long had you been seeing her?
I have no reason to answer you.
I see. Is that what you want me to tell Lord Mortimer when he asks what I found out?
It's only been a few weeks.
You loved her, didn't you?
That is none of your damn business.
Your feelings betray you, sir.
So what? Yes, I loved her like a moth loves the flame of a candle. That's why we could never be together.
I get the impression that your romance was over. Am I right?
So? What does it matter to you? I would never have attacked her, if that's what you're insinuating.
Who put an end to the relationship? You or her?
It was her. It was her. But what does that matter? We both agreed.
Please, tell me a little more about the nature of your relationship.
That is a personal matter, monsieur.
Yes, that is true. So, tell me.
All right. It was passion. That's why we couldn't stay together. It scared her.
Did you see how many tattoos Miss Adams had on her?
Of course. Who wouldn't have noticed?
Yes, but I'm sure that an expert like yourself must have an opinion on the subject.
I do. She was seeking to imprison something inside her. Her own body had become a sort of prison.
She wanted to protect herself, is that what you're saying?
Elizabeth was a flame, a candle in the night. And like all candles in the night, she was surrounded by darkness, by her demons, call it what you will. One thing is for sure. She struggled against hell and high water not to let her flame go out.
We finished. I'll have a look around and then take my leave.
Do whatever you have to do.
О, блин, меня все подозреваемые. Перут не мог это сделать.
The alchemist is an old man.
Потому что он сам это говорит, что не мог это сделать.
The sorrows of young Werther. There's a dear Elizabeth, but I hope that so. But that's hardly.
The signs of obscurantism.
Но не может быть это... Блин. Я сейчас запутаюсь просто тупо.
Pistol? Barely. Right.
Да. Ну, мы все здесь осмотрели, пора делать выбор. О, блин. Вашингтон. Надо еще раз поспрашивать.
Greetings, Louis.
I'm talking to all the guests to find out who has an alibi and, well, who doesn't, Mr. President. Can you tell me what you were doing last night so that I can strike your name off the list?
I spent the night right here, reading.
All night?
Exactly. Emily stopped by in the middle of the night, you can ask her. She wanted to talk about some business we have in common.
Anything whatsoever to do with Elizabeth?
Not at all, Louis. A business matter.
Do you know if she had any...
Not that I know. I heard about her altercation with Miss, but if in doubt, I wouldn't leave.
Don't worry. Countryman or not. I shan't keep you any longer, Mr.
Feel free.
Thank you. It looks like a note.
Ну мы все это читали. Очков действия вообще не на нуле. Вообще. Я просто сейчас жестко туплю.
Monseigneur, His Eminence Cardinal Piaggi.
Я так и думал, что свою комнату не найти, зайти не могу.
Duke
Годой.
Manuel Godoy.
Году, это я знаю.
Duchess Emily Hillsborough.
Хиллсборо. Давай посмотрим еще раз. Надо все еще раз обойти.
Tending children at the orphanage in Harlem. King George III in coronation robes. Nice touch for the room of an English duchess.
What can I do for you, Louis?
I've come to see you about last night's tragedy. Tell me, Emily.
Oh, come off.
No.
It doesn't really matter. Look, Louis,
You're lying, Emily. These agreements come into being in order to know. I won't keep you.
see you.
Ничего интересного. Но не мог это Перу сделать. Не мог, я не верю.
Grammar of Port-Royal. Ah. Whoever masters French commands the world. At least une partie of it.
Манускрипт. Сколько у меня манускриптов сейчас в данный момент в инвентаре? Мне просто сейчас интересно это. Предметы. О, мама дорогая, сколько тут? Тут можно чего угодно качать, на самом деле тут. На самом деле бы сейчас на следующий... Не знаю пока, я думаю. Вниз не пойдешь.
Monsieur Napoleon Bonaparte.
Бонапарт. Я еще раз хочу смотреть. Я что-то не упускаю.
Monsieur de Richet,
Someone saw you.
I wanted, and I wanted now. What an
Were you...
unfortunate.
But if I remember rightly, the night of her arrival was also the night of my arrival. So the person he saw leaving Elizabeth's room was Washington.
Well, have we finished, Monsieur?
Exactly.
Так, выходил Вашингтон. Ну блин, Вашингтон ни при чем. Он хотел узнать, была это Лиска или нет. О, ну поехали. Пусто, блин, пусто просто. Беги, Луи, беги.
President George Washington.
Greetings, Louis.
Mr. President, we found a...
Not a...
No, rest assured.
Perfect. Greetings.
Tell me, Mr. President, you know her father.
No, I didn't. And I wanted to.
You can't blame yourself. Were you aware that...
Yes, she came to ask me for some.
Do you take it regularly, Mr. President?
Unfortunately, I do, Louis.
It's just...
Old age, my young friend. I don't wish
And
a moderate amount, Louis. Only the...
I shan't keep you any long.
Feel free.
Thank you.
Ребята, это реально сложно определиться, кто убийца. На самом деле. Перу не мог. Перу не мог. Я уверен, что кто-то из этих людей, либо Мортимер, либо, ну, Сара, кстати, тоже вариант, ну, не знаю. На Сару слишком мало улик. Перу сам сказал, что он был там, но не убивал. Он бы проще застрелил бы ее, чем... Он бы проще ее убил, чем бы застрелил, точнее. Коллекционка. Зачем мне на коллекцию? Зачем это коллекционка, я не понимаю. Ну типа в Steam, ну, может быть, какая-то есть застяга, не знаю.
Monsieur Jacques Perru?
Месье Жак Перо.
Decorum guide.
Правила хорошего тона. Кто реально убийца? Вашингтон. Вашингтон не был там. У него алиби.
What a tragedy.
That's...
But I would... One last thing.
Do you know it?
Oh, unfortunate. Otherwise, you...
The nightmare painted by Fuseli in 1781. I've come to I'm listening, Louis.
Will you remind me of the
Elizabeth Adam, but Piat, as for Bonaparte and Washington...
I'm sorry, my lord, but I don't have any evidence conclusive enough to allow me to name the culprit with certitude.
Really? I see. Well, that's your decision, Louis, and I accept it. Given the distinguished guests and the sensitive political issues involved at the conference, I trust you'll leave me to conclude the case in my own way. Right. It's time we spoke about your mother, Louis.
She isn't missing, you know.
What? What do you mean?
My mother has left traces in every nook and cranny of your island, my lord. She's definitely here. Now, what worries me most is why she doesn't show herself.
That doesn't make me feel any better, Louis.
What was the official reason why my mother came to your island?
I knew about your mother's activities, and yours, in the Golden Order. I thought we had everything to gain by working together.
You mean the cannon deal with Monsieur Bonaparte?
Among others, yes. How did you hear about that?
Monsieur Bonaparte came to speak to me about it yesterday, during lunch.
I see. So impetuous. He was supposed to let me speak to you about it first. Our friend Napoleon desperately needed financial backing to properly equip his army. I took it upon myself to back him because I have a firm conviction that he can go far.
We shall see. However, there's one thing that surprises me. Isn't Bonaparte a bit young to deserve so much attention?
Well, you come straight to the point. I like that. Indeed, if you knew just how much you remind me of him. Trust me, I'll wager that Monsieur Napoleon will soon prove himself. I'm working on it, at least. once this deal was closed, I had big plans for Sarah.
Such as what?
You see, I've invited several influential figures on my island to present them with a project at the conference. It will be presented later today. I thought that the Golden Order had a role to play, and I still think so. I was hoping Sarah would be able to join us.
Так, я Холмса убираю, потому что
I see.
расследование закончилось. Если
Indeed,
чё.
if by chance your mother decided not to return to us before the conference, would you do me the great honor of attending? If only to follow the deliberations while waiting for her to duly take her seat.
Why not? We shall see.
Ah, thank you so much. In this way, you'll be able to keep your mother informed of what is said. There's something else I'd like to briefly go over. Earlier, you asked me the official reason for your mother's presence here. Is there an off-the-record reason why your mother came here?
She was looking for someone.
What do you mean?
In Paris, we were working on a smuggling case to do with occult objects. We had just arrested a dealer who intended to go to you to meet a buyer. My mother was here to find out to whom he intended to sell his stolen treasure.
Oh. What was the name of your dealer?
The dealer was called von Burchard. As for the buyer, he was unknown to us.
No, I don't know anything about that. There's something I still don't get. In your opinion, why would your mother remain in hiding over several weeks?
Her not coming back to the manor after so long makes me wonder if she is wary of someone.
Well, certainly. But whom? The only ones who were present during her stay were Sir Gregory, Duchess Hillsborough, Mr. von Boulder, and myself.
My lord, I'm obliged to ask this question, but please don't take offense to it.
Ah, you wondered if Sarah was wary of me. It just so happens that I've been asking myself the very same question. Because I can't explain why Sarah didn't come to see me, knowing how influential I am. But to your point, I can't imagine she would be. Although I am obviously not the best person to answer that question.
Thank you. I had to ask.
The only thing I can tell you is that Sarah had indeed changed. At the beginning of her stay here, we enjoyed spending time together, solving the world's problems.
Tell me about her disappearance.
Since she disappeared, your mother has been seen once. Her behavior on the evening of your arrival greatly surprised Gregory and myself. She resurfaced to attack Emma, Emily Hillsborough's twin sister. And she shot her with a pistol. Then, before Gregory could intervene, she ran off and disappeared again.
I beg your pardon? Hang on.
That means my vision on the wharf, it was actually happening inside the manor. Mother shot Emily's sister? The very person she came looking for? Why would she do that?
Excuse me, but between that and the childhood of Lady Adams, it's all a bit much for me to cope with. I need to piece it all together again to see things more clearly. You said that you spent a lot of time talking together at the beginning. What happened for that to change?
I'm afraid I haven't much to tell you. The more the days went by, the more she withdrew into herself. She never gave me an explanation, until the day came when she purely and simply disappeared.
Where did she go when she wanted to be alone?
She would shut herself away in a room we use as a box room upstairs.
Would you allow me to go there?
Naturally, Louis, of course. I'll send you a servant to open it.
Thank you.
That's all I can tell you about the disappearance of your mother, Louis. I would like to have been more helpful.
I shall stay on her trail and follow up any leads.
Thank you. We will meet later on to welcome our last guest. In the meantime, I shall get someone to open the box room upstairs for you.
Thank you.
The room is just opposite Mortimer's study. Dante's Paradise. Raise your head and be reassured, for what comes up here from the mortar world must ripen in our rays. What is this disc? Oh, that reminds me of the ones my mother collects. It's magnetic. There are burnt papers in the chimney. There's a legible fragment left. Hey, I recognize my mother's handwriting. She says, we must find a safer way to communicate. Someone is on to us. Trust in my faith in the man with the sword. So Mother had an accomplice here. Who could it be?
Ну, Эмма,
Who
кто
could she
еще?
be suspicious of? I must find the next part. Faith, sword. I recognize her love of riddles there. The door appears to be locked on the other side. I think I heard something fall to the ground. A metallic sound, like a key falling to the floor. We'll see if it works. It's open. St. Paul painted by Guido Reni. St. Paul is shown holding a sword. Strange. There's hardly any dust, as if the painting's been cleaned recently. There's a small inscription engraved on the frame. Let's take a closer look. This is how Paul spoke to his pilgrims from Rome. Just above that, someone's written down the figure 11 on the painting.
Ну, не
And
знаю,
underlined it twice. No, what does that mean? So we have the figure 11 twice underlined. And a story of a group of pilgrims who it looks like Paul is speaking to. Maybe it's a code. There must be a connection. A text on Paul must be somewhere, and it must be associated with the figure 11. But what's the story with these pilgrims? I mean, a connection with a figure, maybe? St. Paul is... There's a small one. Let's take a... Just above... No, what is that? A chest with the occult...
Я не собираюсь взламывать пока.
It's St. John. The New Testament. I say then, have they stumped for to provoke the... Wait! What does it say?
Dear E, I'm glad you found this note. I was afraid the code of the two groups of pilgrims would mislead you. Pick up the package.
You know where, and hide it where no one will, awaiting your reply. Hidden behind the youngest apostle. What? Several portraits of apostles. Looks like someone touched this commode. There's nothing worth it. It's too cumbersome for me to unhook here, but little characters are engraved on the sentence. It says, "Count in the dust." All right, let's do it. There's nothing. There are finger marks. Deliberately drawn in the... That's what the message in Hebrew spoke about. Hebrew 8. No. I guess I'll just come back later. There are finger marks. That's what the message in Hebrew spoke about. Hebrew...
Послание к евреям 8.
Thou hast put all... But that... Here's a message. There are some complications. Indeed, the Prussian is insistent. Do you need help? If tonight is not possible, let's see tomorrow. When Paul understood that only the axe counted, he went back on his tracks. I await your confirmation to... Yeah, this last comment is about their code. I should find new pilgrims. A drawing of the Apostle Matthew. He's represented as... There's something else behind this painting. It says, half of each group will join the first city of Corinth. What the hell does that mean? A drawing of the Apostle Matthew. He's represented as... Take heed, otherwise... I guess I'll just come back later. St. Paul on the Road to Damascus by Caravaggio. Caravaggio attained a magnificent command of black. Paul facing... This painting has been hanging here. Well, the finger is... I can read the number 4.
Так, я знаю, что там 4 стих.
This painting has been... Well, a finger... I can read... St. Paul is the only saint to be... How come?
Вторая часть, 4 стих. Либо первая часть.
In him, God has chosen... This I... in the vanity...
Fragment of amber.
Янтарный принц. Да, это, конечно, гуд, но не совсем.
And suddenly there came a sound. And there were 7 sons.
And suddenly there came a sound. And he, bearing... Now, I and my... He, the
painting looks like it's... What was it my mother said? That she would wait for an... Ah, of course! There's something written behind the painting. On the second day, the pilgrims will listen to the prophecy of the... They shall add 1 companion to their left and 3 to their right to complete their
Ну
reign.
давай
What
напишем
does it
1-3.
mean?
1-3. Напишу 1-3.
St. John is the only apostle painted in... Hey, wait! Right! This painting is therefore associated now. It's St. John.
if we say that we have...
This volume dates from the first edition of Gut. Pages are covered in annotations.
This book is incredibly... I believe this...
A volume of the Gutenberg Bible.
And I heard a voice, a measure... If we say that...
It's St. John. Paint...
saying with an honor... And the woman was given where she is...
Hey, a new note. It's been folded carefully in the corner of this S. I found the book in your effects. I've concealed it where no one can get their hands on it.
Awaiting your instructions, I will hear your reply, like he who hears the angel.
Here's the angel? What does that mean? Oh, it's probably the place... Painting of St. Mark from the... Little characters are just sitting... Group of pilgrims. If I'm not mistaken, numbered respectively 12 and 14 in the last painting. With the simple operation suggested, that would mean that the new groups are 6 and 7. A drawing of the Apostle Matthew. He's represented...
Матвей. Матвей, так.
Take heed, otherwise. But Jesus... Take heed,
Да ёкарный
otherwise.
бабай. Так, давай еще раз от Матвея.
And great multitudes were gathered, and said, I guess I'll just come back later.
Dante's Paradise. Raise your head and be reassured. What comes up here?
St. Paul on the road to Damascus. This painting has been hanging here. Look, I can read the Caravaggio. It's Paul facing.
There is none that understandeth. There is none that seeketh after God.
Да, короче, пересмотри свой
I
ролик.
guess I'll just come back later.
A chest with the occult symbol representing air.
Вообще есть 6-7? 6-7.
And I heard a voice in a measure. I guess I'll just come back later. St. Paul painted by Guido Reni. Of the 4 apostles shown in this piece, Paul is the only... Caravaggio with Paul facing. Caravaggio attainted by Paul facing. St. Paul is the. How come? Finally, what's worth? For we know that the because we look not for the things finally, Brett, what's worth? This in the vanity. not in the love. And it came to pass in those days that Jesus. And as they did eat, take. And behold.
Короче, угадайка пошла. Пошла угадайка.
He. And he. I. Now, there. And it came to pass. And so many came.
Лука вообще тут ни при чем, ну мало ли что.
And so it was. And this taxing. Take heed, otherwise. But Jesus turned. And great multitude. And said.
Я просто не хочу
this
тратить этот.
And suddenly there. And there were 7.
Назад, подожди, святой.
And he
10.
became very. Hey, there's a note here. A message from Mother. We must leave urgently. But first, I absolutely must go beyond the night. Allay suspicion. See you tomorrow evening. I suppose this must be the last. What did Mother mean by... I must go beyond the night? What does she mean? I'm guessing it's a matter. I need to figure... Mortimer's getting his guests together.
Капец. Чё качать? Вопрос миллион. Так, 100%. Давай так. Жесть, ребята. Ну, мы экспериментируем, конечно. Это то, что я сейчас нажал, это было, как скажем, экспериментируем. У нас же второе прохождение, мы все экспериментируем. Я знаю, что мы должны найти этот. Так, навыки. Что качать? Вот это вопрос, конечно. Этикет. Есть у меня? Есть. Два этикета можно, в принципе, качнуть. Языкознание, уклонение. Уклонение, кстати, к чему относится? Даже уклонение можно качнуть, в принципе. Давай уклонение качнем. Уклонение. Ученик.
It's time I went back and joined everyone in the small salon.
Emily, I must speak to you.
What's the matter, Louis? About last night, I'm guessing.
Sadly, no. Even if I'd like to have, Alas, there are more pressing matters. I have news about your sister.
What have you found out?
Look, I've started piecing together the events leading up to my mother's disappearance and your sister's. Did my mother know about your secret?
Yes, even though I belong to the English chapter, Her rank in the Order gives her access to a good deal of personal information.
Must have been Emma I saw in my vision.
I was given to understand that my mother and your sister bonded during their stay. I've got a question that might seem a little bit strange.
I'm listening.
If I said go beyond the nightmare, would that ring any bells?
No, means nothing to me. Do you mean literally or figuratively speaking?
It might be a place, I don't know where, but it's a lead.
You ought to ask His Eminence. He knows the house and its estate very well, being a frequent visitor here.
Thanks for the advice.
Should I speak to her about my vision? If what I saw is true, she might want to take revenge.
Emily, there's something else.
Go on then.
It's about your sister. I don't know what happened exactly, but it's possible that my mother had a go at her.
I know, Louis. I found out that same evening. Well, thanks for not trying to hide it.
What? Why didn't you tell me?
I didn't know if I could trust you. Now I know I can. It seems that your mother tricked Emma. She apparently asked her to hide an important book, so that even she wouldn't know where it was. And then she shot her like a dog to make sure no one would ever find it again.
Why would she do that?
I don't know, Louis, but I'll find out. You can count on that.
I'm sincerely sorry, Emily.
Thank you, Louis. You're very kind. It means a lot to me. But you do realize your mother will have to accept the consequences of her acts.
There must be an explanation, Emily.
That's what we shall see.
We'll speak about it later, somewhere safe.
Come, Louis. They're waiting for us.
Кто я такой? Там идет конфликт.
You will pay dearly, Peru. I'm sure you were involved somewhere along the line.
That's right. Pretend you don't know. One piece of advice. Don't travel through France on your way back, or it'll cost you dearly.
Calm now, my friends. Let's calm down. Everyone seems to be a little unnecessarily heated. Don't forget where you are, please.
What's going on here exactly?
Sir Gregory called us together to introduce the last guest.
But hardly had we arrived when he set upon Monsieur Peru.
And who is this charming character?
Manuel Godoy, the Duke of La Alcudia.
He's the head of the Spanish government, Monsieur de Richet. He's the one who, in practice, controls Spain.
How could you dare do such a thing? Dios mío, you are all out of your minds!
Really, Duke Manuel? What made you kick up such a fuss?
What? Have you not heard? Well, let me inform you that yesterday morning at 10:22 a.m. precisely, in the middle of the Place de la Révolution in Paris, by decree of the National Convention which Monsieur Peru works for, King Louis was guillotined.
What? Oh, no.
The King of France is dead, gentlemen. Our monarchies are in danger. I have said it before.
How dare they?
Oh, dear.
Oh, as if...
Friends, let us calm down.
Don't pretend to be surprised. He got a fair trial.
Ridiculous! Bastard! He was sentenced to death by 361 votes to 360.
Один
You
голос.
beheaded a king for one vote! Is that your democracy?
What an obnoxious act. Until this, anything was possible. This political coup will have grave consequences.
France is lost.
Gentlemen, please. Let us take a step back a moment.
In the name of holiness. He was the highest representative of God in France, Emily.
Gentlemen, Duchess, we're all among people of reputable company here. We should be able to manage the conflicts of our nations in a respectful and orderly manner.
I fully agree with you, sir.
But
That's enough, sir.
with whom do I have the pleasure of speaking?
Louis Maras de Richet.
Are you related to Sarah de Richet?
Sarah is his mother, Duke. Gentlemen, this news affects us all, but I must ask you to remain calm. It's not the first time history has taken us by surprise. Let's ensure that our respective countries are allowed to respond appropriately to this news.
Oh, rest assured, the response will not fall short, my friend.
Good for you. Well, Your Grace, here I was preparing to introduce you as is proper, and you've beaten me to it. I'm delighted that we are all together at last. Our meeting will therefore be able to kick off shortly. I have just a few more little preparations to take care of before you all find out the reason for your presence here. In the meantime, I shall leave you to get to know one another. When you hear the bell, please proceed to the conclave room on my left, behind that door. I'll see you later.
Could you spare a moment, please, sir?
I'm glad you asked. I want to talk to you too. Of course.
I heard about your mother's disappearance.
He looks concerned. I don't know why, but I doubt it's from sympathy alone. Well, let's see what he wants from me.
Any news of her? Have you found her, maybe?
To hear you speak, you seem to know my mother well.
Not really. We met for the first time on this very spot some weeks back. We had a very pleasant discussion. She's an exceptionally learned lady with a good head for business. No need for me to tell you that.
I agree.
Did she tell you about our arrangement?
The cat's out of the bag now. More or less, but please do refresh my memory.
Yes, of course. Nothing of great importance in itself. During one of our discussions, she spoke of an old book, which might have been of interest to me, and she had agreed to let me have it.
A book about what?
Ancient occultism. As you are aware, I am a doctor of theology. You might have come across some old books in her belongings, perhaps?
I found one.
Quite old? With locks on every chapter?
Oh no. I'm sorry, sir. This one is the Mysterium Cosmographicum, a book she is particularly fond of.
Oh, no. That's not the one.
Poor man's disgusted. I shouldn't play with his nerves. I'll look again. You seem very upset. Is it so important to you, this book?
Well, it's the search of a lifetime. What can I say? Every time I move closer to it, it seems to slip away at the last minute. I was very surprised to learn that your mother had it in her possession. I thought it was with a certain von Borchardt in Paris. Do you know him?
Блин.
Indeed. One of your close friends?
No, not really, but we were close once. Precisely over the case that concerns us now. Because he claimed to have the book I'm...
Another dishonest person. What can you say? Can't trust anyone these days, huh?
No. No. You can't.
Я знаю, что он ищет.
I hope I've been able to satisfy your curiosity, Mr. von Volner, and that you succeed in finding...
Oh.
And now, what if you told me who you really are working for?
I beg your pardon?
We both know what you're looking for, von Volner. You're the one who von Borchardt was planning to sell it to.
For centuries, all those who have come into contact with the Al-Azif, you, please know that I am working for someone who does not appreciate any...
Let me guess. It's Sir Gregory.
Correct. You ought to know then, he is not a man who likes to be duped. You are walking on thin ice, sir.
Monsieur Bonaparte.
Mais oui.
Does expression go beyond...
Well, metaphor. I doubt that is what...
Indeed. But surely...
Well, monsieur, you ought to...
Would you have any more information?
Nothing it's Mortimer, but given the...
What do you think of...
Well,
Why is that?
his reputation...
You'll be able to check if the hearsay...
I sincerely doubt... The context does not...
I under... Well, shall we meet up again later?
Wait, any news of your mother?
Unfortunately not.
I hope to speak with her about... Let me know if you find... À plus tard.
Надеюсь, я спасу мать. Так, ребят, я думаю, что надо на этом закончить серию, потому что я что-то затупил конкретно. Вот на этом моменте. Я как-то машинально нажал не на ту кнопку. Убийца, хорошо, что мы не узнали, кто убийца, потому что это меня радует. Потому что убийца на самом деле либо Холм, либо Мортимер, либо Сара. Либо Сара. Самоубийство, конечно, отменяется. Все списать на самоубийство не варик. Поэтому